ਏਕਾ ਸੁਰਤ ਜੇਤੇ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਸੁਰਤ ਵਿਹੂਣਾ ਕੋਇ ਨ ਕੀ, ਜੇਹੀ ਸੁਰਤ तेहा तिन राहो, लेखा एको आवह जाओ हो।
Spiritual beings enunciate the principles of peaceful coexistence. They build bridges of unity by overcoming the falseness of duality that is created by society. The bliss of universality can be experienced when unity in diversity is embraced.
My name is Amardeep Singh. I will be tracing the memories of saints and Sufis, the Bhagats of the Indian subcontinent, whose philosophies are intertwined with those of Guru Nanak and are enshrined in the Guru Granth Sahib.
Rivers flow unrestricted and fearlessly through various terrains to reach an ocean, amicably disseminating their attributes and warmly assimilating manifold properties. In this process, they gain fertility and nourish the soil to produce and sustain life. Similarly, to reach the ultimate truth, seekers, uninhibited, delve courageously into varied ideologies, amicably disseminating experiential learnings and warmly assimilating knowledge. They create a repository of wisdom that facilitates a harmonious way of life. During the medieval period, the Indian subcontinent was experiencing a political, religious, and social downturn. Caste divisions, ritualism, oppression, and hierarchy had corrupted society. In this background, two parallel reformist movements, Bhakti and Sufi, emerged in the early 10th century to weave together the rich social and religious fabric of society. The word Bhakti is derived from Sanskrit word Bhaj, which means devotion, to reflect, share, and participate. The Bhakti tradition regards divinity as one, which is Nirgun, the formless, and the Sargun, residing in all forms. The word Sufi comes from a Persian word meaning wisdom, purity, and truth. The Sufi tradition is anchored in the concept of Wahdat al-Wujud, the path towards unity of existence. The Bhakti and the Sufi movement conceived a humanitarian revolution in the subcontinent. This progressive force gave impetus to experiential wisdom over theoretical knowledge. They voiced opinions in the vernacular, incorporating local and foreign languages, creating literary and spiritual works in prose and poetry to express the singularity of creation. Their mission was to rejuvenate society with the spirit of oneness in diversity. To extend the reach of spiritual wisdom amongst the masses, Guru Nanak laid the foundation of committing the oral tradition to document through scribing, so that knowledge could transcend generations. The magnanimous task of collating devotional literature of saints and seers of diverse cultures was carried forward by the spiritual lineage of Guru Nanak. This heterogeneity came to reside in a unique scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib, a repository of oneness in diversity. Our journey to understand the concordance of thoughts of the revolutionary saints of the Indic region reveals that the Bhakti and Sufi movements between the 12th and 16th centuries were a fertile locus where diverse philosophies, vernaculars, cultures, and religious beliefs merged. The potpourri of the evolved thoughts of revered beings representing the traditions of the Indian subcontinent was indicative of their quest to bring awareness for social equality to create a harmonious society. Discrimination arises from the mindset of regarding a particular way of life as supreme and disregarding the viewpoints of others. The clouded mind forgets the truth that nobody is superior, nobody is inferior, and nobody is equal either. Everyone is unique, simply incomparable. By respecting others, we respect ourselves, which is a significant component in society in terms of interpersonal relationships and one's relationship with the self. Where there is respect, there is love. Revered saints make a conscientious effort to engage in respectful dialogue when assimilating and disseminating knowledge. They want this beauty of racial harmony to be seen through eyes centered in love and which remain in search of oneness in diversity. Devotion resides in an open mind and heart to embrace unity. The vision of enlightened masters is a ray of hope to blossom a united world.
आवहो भैने गल मिल है अंक सही लड़िया मिल कर है समृद्ध कंत किया साचे साहिब सब गुण आगण सब असा